How many of you have at least once stepped into a room and had no clue as to why you were there? By show of hands. How many of you have at least once caught everyone's attention and then for the life of you could not remember what you were about to say? That's quite a lot of you. But ladies and gentlemen, I assure you that you're not alone in this regard. Let me tell you about my aunt in India who is a teacher. One day she was in a hurry to go to school. So she dressed herself up and rushed out of her house, carrying her umbrella in her hand. She reached the bus stop and put her umbrella forward to arrest the attention of the driver. It was just then that she realized that what she held in her hand was not her umbrella, but her cylindrical talcum powder tin. Ladies and gentlemen, jokes apart. Now take a look at this picture on the screen. What do you see here? What do you see here? But what we see is only the tip of the iceberg, while 90% of this massive body lurks beneath the ocean surface. This is a reminder, each one of us. Each time we ignore something that we consider insignificant, we might be plunging into deeper dangers beneath. In today's world, which is moving at a fast pace, data is on an exponential rise. At this stage, it is easy for us to forget. It is easy for us to let people, places, ideas, and dates slip away from the back of our minds. But when our brains begin to do that more often, neurologists call this condition Alzheimer's. Each time we ignore those tiny memory glitches because we consider them insignificant, we might in fact be plunging into deeper dangers beneath. We might simply be looking at only the tip of our icebergs, while 90% of that massive problem lurks beneath. Ladies and gentlemen, as most of you might be aware, our brain is made up of millions of tiny little root-like cells called neurons, and the microscopic gap between them are called synapses. When a protein called amyloid beta peptide starts accumulating in the synapses of your neurons, your brain loses its strength and begins to let every bit of knowledge and information slip away from the back of our minds. But the real danger is that amyloid beta peptide is a silent killer. If this protein starts accumulating in your brain today, you start showing signs of memory loss only in 2039, which is 20 years away from today. It is with this view in mind that my friends and I came up with a device called IDAD, innovative device for Alzheimer's detection. IDAD has two main parts, an emitter and a detector. The emitter is somewhat similar to your headphones, except for the fact that it has a glass tube right in the middle. This glass tube is used to insert nuclear material into the device. The nuclear material is the true manager of IDAD. Let me tell you how. The radioactivity which is emitted by this nuclear material is transmitted to the brain and is reflected by the jelly-like substance called cerebrospinal fluid, and the reflected radiations are brought back to the emitter. Now, the detector is a part of the device which is somewhat similar to our TV remotes. It has a green light to indicate normalcy in amyloid beta peptide levels and a red light to indicate excess levels of this protein. Since this protein is considered as a hallmark of Alzheimer's, excess of this protein means there is room for concern. Ladies and gentlemen, close your eyes for a moment and think of that beloved member of your family who refuses to recognize you because their brains have given up on them. Last year, I remember being extremely excited to go to India for my vacations. Spending time with my relatives, especially my great uncle, was always on the top of my vacation to-do list. As soon as the airport taxi reached in front of my ancestral house, I leaped out of the car, rushed into the house, barged into the library, and hugged my great uncle tight. But just then, my joy soon turned into shock when he turned away, pointed a finger at me, and said, "Who is this girl?" At first, I tried to convince myself, saying that my great uncle loved playing practical jokes and had fallen for most of them. But soon I realized that destiny had played a cruel joke on him. He was suffering from Alzheimer's. My entire family was heartbroken. It was just then that I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if I could save that beloved member of my family? Wouldn't it be a greater feat if I could save millions of brothers and sisters of my global family? That's exactly what IDAD is meant to do when it becomes accessible to people all over the world. Our project was recognized by a panel of experts from FANR, Federal Authority for Nuclear Research in UAE, as well as IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, which is the UN body dedicated to the peaceful use of nuclear technology. As a result of this recognition, my team was given an opportunity to visit the Baraka nuclear power plant in Abu Dhabi, which is the first ever nuclear power plant in the MENA region. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for my teammates who are here to share the stage with me today. Please welcome Edina, Isha, and Rennie. On behalf of my team, I extend my sincere gratitude to the organizers of TEDx for giving us a platform to present our project and for helping us have such a wonderful audience listening to us so intently. IDAD is a small step towards a greater goal, the goal of creating a world which is more sustainable in terms of human health and environment. Currently, we are working on developing a prototype of this device so that it can be tested and brought out into the markets in the near future. We are being assisted in this venture by a couple of scientists in MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. On the screen are a few snippets of our conversation with Mr. Deepak Vasisht, the lead researcher at this university. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the generation that stepped on the moon. We are the people who created drones and self-driven cars. We could easily be the people who create a world where our brains don't give up on us anymore. Thank you.